Hello, everyone. I have to read the Danish Slaughterhouse again. Uh, this time it's chapter 14, chapter 15. I don't know. I count the chapters differently, as you probably already know. Soaking in raging waters. Yay. Also, just to let you guys know, I know I didn't keep up my whole promise about updating my sprites for summer. Sorry about that. But I do plan on making new sprites, so yeah. With that out of the way, let's begin. The water in the bathtub was producing steam. Matthias was able to tell from where he sat. Stripped of his bloodstained pajamas, Matthias sat in the nude on the toilet, patiently waiting as the bathtub filled with water. He absent-mindedly watched the faucet at work, resting his elbows on his knees and holding his chin in his palms. His eyebrows furrowed together in a fixed scowl. The little bastard got away. That was the only thing Matthias' mind focused on. Nothing else could occupy his thoughts for more than 5 seconds before the recollection of last night got to him. Matthias almost caught Peter, which would have made that the third killing in one night, and would have sped up the process of his work. But Peter escaped. Peter kicked him and hit him with that weird strength Matthias never knew the kid had and sprinted off into the darkness. That made Matthias angry. Turning his eyes towards the floor towels, Matthias bounced the leg on his toes, jiggling it in pent-up frustration. A small part of his mind started to count out the maroon towels from the ivory towels to turn his frustration onto something else because he needed to calm down before he acted out in completely wild rage. He needed to rest and let his body heal a bit. It was bad enough he flew straight into raping Beryl's body right after a cruel beating from Peter, and woke up with still a lot of pain going on into another brawl. If he were to find anyone might just kill him, or at least exhaust him severely. He decided to use the remaining time before the rest moved out of hiding to do some self-treatment. Matthew stood from his seat and went to the tub. After testing the water's temperature, he shut off the faucet and slowly climbed into the tub. Warmth was already working its wonders as Matthias felt the aches pounding within his flesh and bones ebb away. He lied within the tub's length and leaned back against the tub's edge, with his head resting on a built-in neck cushion on the tub's edge. Matthias' body began to feel weightless as he let himself buoy in the water. He closed his eyes and inhaled, feeling the air he took in through his nostrils fill him from toes to his head before opening his eyes and looking up at the ceiling. He started to count the psychedelic-looking maroon flowers painted on the ivory ceiling just as he did with the towels below him when a thought occurred to him. Peter could have killed him. Already Matthias' face scrunched up into a harsh snarl befitting a rabid wolf as he realized how truly fatal the situation that happened between them. If Peter hadn't panicked and saw how much true damage a swing of his fist or a kick of the leg did to Matthias, he would have went further. He would have made sure that Matthias was truly pulverized in an enactment of revenge for his mother and father, and if he felt the need to save the world from the big bad Dane forever. Matthias growled as he slammed his fist into the water, causing a large splash. I could have fucking died, he thought. He could have died, all because he underestimated the strength of the child's steel-like limbs by their scrawny appearance. The pit of his stomach churned with self-loathing and disgust at his own miscalculations. His militant strategizing skills were rusty, too rusty. If he was able to be taken down by a kid and end up in a life-and-death moment. No, not exactly. Matthews gazed at the sink from the corner of his eyes. Sitting atop it on a washcloth to prevent it from touching any wet surfaces was the remote control. It was in a pocket of Matthews' pajama pants within reach should he need it. God damn it, Matthews screeched in the top of his lungs. Son of a fucking bitch. He gripped his forehead tightly, feeling his hands shake in fury. In order to survive, Matthias would have needed to go against his own rule he imposed on himself since the day he picked up his first axe. Never go for the last resort unless truly needed. He hated last resorts. Last resorts were a means of giving up on fights, absolutely forfeiting any strength and skills one had in an act of cowardice. If he could, Matthias would have been willing to not use any type of last-minute escape tricks until he found his head on a stake. And yet here he was, imagining himself pressing that button and sending Peter into a submission-induced shock to save his own ass. Matthias sighed and ran his wet fingers through his hair. slicking the messy spikes back and taking out some of the blood that dried up there. He looked up at the clock that hung high above the wall facing the foot of the bathtub. Damn, 2:37, he thought in amazement. He looked up at the ceiling as he mentally calculated the hours that passed by. I know that fighting Tino and Beryl took around half an hour each, so that's 1 hour, giving them a good hard fuck in the ass took an hour on each of them, so that's 2 hours. And chasing their son took maybe 45 minutes. I'll run that to an hour, and then there's that 1 hour nap I took after taking Beryl. He burned through 6 hours within the first day, leaving him with 4 more hours before he had to set off to more work. He picked up a bar of soap, wet it, and began working a lather onto his body to wash off the remaining blood. During his washing, Matthias began to do more planning, mostly figuring out how was he going to get past Peter's monstrous strength and kill him. Soon his mind wandered from ways to conquer Peter without suffering serious injuries to Lucas. Just like Peter, Lucas was a special case he had to approach with caution, so he had to make a specially designed plan to take care of Lucas as well. As Matthias began working the soap onto his legs, he started to remember the day that he had burst through Lucas' bedroom door, frightening his little kitten so much that he could have sworn he saw Lucas piss himself. What was Lucas doing during that day? When Matthias finally remembered after some deep memory searching, he smirked. He now has Lucas taken care of as well as Peter, and when Lucas went down, Emil will twice as likely fall down with him with no one to protect him. Matthias gulped some air to hold and sunk his head under the water's surface. His plans can wait until he's finished with his 4 hours of rest and relaxation. And that's everything. I'm actually not going to read the next chapter because I looked it over and it's really long, and I don't want to stretch out this video like super long, and plus I just don't want to read another chapter of the story right now. So yeah, that's everything. Don't forget to check the links in the description for my other accounts like DeviantArt, Tumblr, and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time.